What's up, gamers? Welcome to Twilight Solo RPG. My name is Haru, and today we'll be concluding Chapter 1. Last we left off, the party had left um, Jessam's grandfather's laboratory. They managed to leave, but everyone except Isildia is sick for 10 days. They have been poisoned. Almost all of them had been poisoned by giant centipedes, and in the end, they were able to recover an envelope that says to my grandson Jessam, and Jessam opens the letter in front of them. He reads um, this handwritten letter to him by his grandfather, and also inside the envelope is a ring. It's actually a ring of protection, and Jessam breaks down. All this time, he had thought that his grandfather didn't care for him, and didn't realize that um, he had actually, had been trying to look out for him. He decides to give the ring of protection to the party as an additional thanks. He doesn't know what the party has. The party has gained this much 6,820 worth of stuff in his grandfather's laboratory, and they are not, they're not, they don't need to tell Jessim what they have found in the laboratory either. So they decide to take Jessim's offer of the Ring of Protection, and the party slowly, because everyone's at half movement speed, go back to the keep. They are very hungry. They are very sickly feeling. It has taken them over 13 hours to get through um, the laboratory and back. Um, and uh, yeah, they're going to divvy up, you know, the the um, they're going to inventory everything that they've managed to loot in uh, Draxus's laboratory. Um, and on top of that, they have like this shared camaraderie that's built on the stresses and the trauma of having to go through everything together. They've bonded a little bit because of that. It's trauma bonding. And then that is the end of chapter 1. It ends with them going back to the keep, and they all have to, including Isildia, they all have to rest for 10 days because they're feeling sick. Um, that is the, I think that would be a good conclusion to chapter 1. Thank you so much for listening in. And then this is me breaking the fourth wall, talking as a GM this time. I have a few things to note. It has come to my attention that I was misunderstanding the meaning of Castellan. I had, looked up like very briefly what a Castellan was, and it's actually they're not specifically a lord. They're not nobility. They're officials. But I think I in my narrative I took it as nobility, some sort of nobility. So because of the rest of the narrative that I have planned, it might be a bit of um, uh, what's it called? Um, it might be a bit distant from um going beyond what is allowed, but it wouldn't be a keep per se in the Borderlands if I changed it, but I decided to change it to fit the narrative. Yeah, so Titania, Isilia's older sister, is going to be sort of the lord of this castle. And it's not just a keep anymore. It's going to be like a little town, with population, with a proper population that isn't just military. Because from my readings, a castellan is a government, like some sort of government official, being given charge of a castle for defense. It kind of doesn't make sense to me that there would be, taverns, inns, a chapel inside a military, um, a military keep. But um, it's, I don't know what things are like historically. Um, I'm going to make the executive decision to make it so that it is a proper town, where Titania and Isildia are not necessarily nobility, but they are at least lords or ladies in this case of that little town. They're not exactly mayors either, because I don't think mayor was even um, coined. That term mayor has been coined at that time. It's, medieval sort of period, and it's a lord and fiefdom. um, so we're going to make that update. And then it has also come to my attention that I was using the word cachectic uh, wrong. Cachectic means like they're malnourished, they're kind of wasting away, which kind of makes sense that he would be, Morlun would be wasting away. However, um, I was using it like some sort of jerking movement, and that's wrong. I wanted to correct that. Um, and then there's a lot of things that I have forgotten. I wasn't keeping track of arrows. I wasn't on top of wandering encounters. I've absolutely thrown encumbrance out of uh, existence, and we're going to treat it that way. We're going to keep pretending as if encumbrance doesn't exist because it is easier that way for me. Um, I was not really keeping on top of monster morale. I wasn't keeping track of that. And then, as I mean, I was saying it, um, like because narratively it would make sense that um, when the party decides to make a move, it's not always a roll for initiative kind of encounter. There's like narrative movements to make sometimes, but I think by doing that, I also realized that I was, giving um, favorably to my party members. I need to make note of that and admit it, that that was probably a bit of metagaming over there. Um, and I will try to be more mindful of that in the future. And then I wasn't keeping track of distance, but I knew that. It's sort of like encumbrance for me, where I'm not, I don't want to be strict about distances. And then I have been looking for like a compass, actually, because I wanted to keep track of what the party might be seeing with the torch. Moving forward, I want to figure out how to make um, maps work without necessarily having to juggle so many sheets. I think that was a little bit cumbersome for me. I don't know what to do yet. Whether I'm just gonna draw a mini map, but also I want it blown up so that um, you can easily see what's going on map wise. I want to figure that out. We've gotten a lot of gold. I've added up everything, um, tallied everything up, and it's total. They've gotten a total of 6,820 worth of stuff. On top of that, they have things like Ruby Ring of Fire Resistance, the Ring of Protection. There's Tome of Looping Enchantments. We've also forgotten a couple of things. Like we have a key to a casket that we didn't necessarily find and open, um, and that's been scrapped. Like I narratively, the items, some of the magical items, the five cursed rings, they will be surrendered to the keep. Um, the only thing that the party will keep will be the scroll of fireball, ring of fire resistance, and the ring of protection. And then, um, they have been in debt to the keep, and I decided to get rid of. I mean, they have so much gold. They're going to pay 800 gold to back to the keep. That's their debt and interest. Let's make it even. Let's make it even. Let's pay the keep 820. That's their debt and interest and more. Um, I know that one gold is also equal to one XP. However, I don't. It pains me to say this, but I don't want to use that this much gold to level up my party. I already cheated by starting at level 2. Um, I don't want to give them any more advantage. So they'll stay at level 2, but we are going to keep the gold. Um, and then there is a reason for that. I'll explain or narratively um, tell the story of how Isildia plans to use the gold that they find. They've gotten a considerable amount, and there was a reason for all of that. Um, but yeah, that is the end. That is the cleanup for chapter 1. I hope I didn't forget anything, and if not, we'll just pick it up from in the start of chapter 2. Thank you so much for listening. If you made it this far, um, I really, really do appreciate any form of support. It warms my heart to know that people out there are listening to me and watching me play. And although it might not be the most entertaining of things, it's still mine. It's something of mine. I created this. I worked on it, and that alone makes me happy. So if that inspires you also to start an adventure of your own, whether or not you decide to publish it or not, um, I am happy for you because um, I am very new to solo RPGs, and I find myself enjoying this. It's sort of almost meditative for me to be playing because I end up forgetting the stresses of my life. And if you find yourself doing the same thing, kudos to you. I hope that you enjoy your own adventures. I have a tendency to be hard on myself and to be a bit of a perfectionist, and I'm working through that. Um, and if you do too, just know that you aren't alone. We're all kind of struggling in our own ways, and I want this to be a space for everyone to come together, tell their own stories. Um, but yeah, I know I'm not ambitious enough to think that my channel will blow up or anything like that, but it it is still mine, you know. To know that I have something out there that is mine is already very fulfilling, and I don't want to let go of this feeling. Um and yeah, thank you so much for hearing me, listening to me babble about these things. Um I hope to see you and new people in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.